and that is the senior Brandon Matthews. Brandon, you know us. It's Zach and Mike. Thanks for a few minutes, and how are you? Good to see you.
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
So you were going for your 9th career title at Temple this past weekend, and you knew I was going to bring this up to you.
Yeah.
And you fell a little bit short in a playoff. Just what happened? First off, I would assume that you're going to break the record eventually, but what happened this past weekend?
Yeah, so, I started playing some really good golf as of recently. Kind of things are coming together a little bit. Shot 3 straight 68s. In the last round, I was playing really well for the most part. Made my first bogey of the tournament on I think my 3rd hole of the day. And then kind of got it back, was 2 under with 6 to play. And, I kind of kicked myself a little bit because my 15th hole, it's a drivable par 4. And the way I play golf is I go for everything, kind of a Phil Mickelson look at things. And, I just laid up. I laid up, hit a bad wedge shot over the green, and didn't get it up and down. So I made a bogey there to actually end up putting me back at even. And didn't birdie the par 5 17th, ended up in a playoff, and just hit some bad wedge shots and went back to some things that I did previous that I'm trying to get better in my swing right now with a couple wedge shots down the stretch, and that really hurt me and lost me a tournament.
See, you're such a unique golfer because if I was a golfer, I would sit out there and I would get ready to hit the ball, and I wouldn't talk to anyone. But I came out to see one of your matches last year when you were at Marion, and you're talking it up with me, asking me if I wanted a candy bar. And I'm just like, how does this guy focus? So get into that focus. You're playing in a playoff. You know what's at stake. Take me through that mentality, how you go from playing and then you have to go to playoff and play a little extra golf.
Yeah, to sum all that up, golf is such a mentally taxing sport that you can only mentally focus like all your energy on a shot like so many times during a round of golf. That's why Tiger Woods was so good, because he did it for 18 holes every day. He was able to do that, and it takes so much energy to be able to do that on every hole every day of your life. So that's why I kind of go awry and just go talk to people and do that, keep my mind off things. But once I get into the golf shot, I'm in a completely different focus. So as for the playoff, I really, outside of my coach that was by my side, I really didn't talk that much. I kind of...
You got serious.
Yeah, I kind of stayed pretty silent, focused on what I had to do, and unfortunately didn't get it done. I think that's actually first playoff I've ever lost. I was talking with my dad last night. I don't remember really losing another one, so kind of disappointing, but again, learned from it, and hopefully we can break the record this weekend.
You could bank it that Brandon Matthews is going to win his next tournament, because I know the competitor you are, and when you lose the next time you go out there, and you usually do pretty well, but as big as a golfer you are, you're also a bigger golf fan. You're a golf enthusiast, one would say.
Absolutely.
And this has to be like Christmas for you. I know you have a tournament this weekend. What, are we going to get some undisclosed injuries so you can sit there and watch the Masters?
I know. I'm excited. Actually kind of excited for next year, where I don't have the Prince Invitational this
right?
weekend, so I can just sit there and hang out on the couch for a weekend.
Maybe you're in the Masters next year. Who knows?
Exactly. So, but no, I really enjoy this week. Kind of gives me chills when you see the commercials come on. It's Masters week, this and that, and that place is just something special. I actually have a lot of people that I know that are going this year.
Didn't you have tickets?
I was, things got a little messed up, but I decided that trying to win this weekend was a little more important than going down there.
Yeah, pretty good call.
So, I know I'm going to get there someday, whether it's, hopefully playing it, but, the place is unbelievable. The whole atmosphere, everything about it is just, it is unlike anything else in the world.
And you know that story with Jim Nantz and Freddie Couples, right? They were roommates in college, and they would actually practice that green jacket ceremony because Nantz wanted to be on CBS, and then Nantz eventually later on, when Freddie won the Masters, was able to, the scene they used to practice in their dorm room, they actually got to do it in real life. So maybe after this interview, we'll go back to where you live and we'll practice the Green Masters jacket ceremony.
I love it. It was working for them, huh?
Right? No, I'll take a job anyway.
Seriously.
CBS, sure, I'll go.
We're talking to Temple senior golfer in Brandon Matthews, and just staying on Augusta for a second, what really makes it so special? Is it the green jacket? Is it the actual green that is there? Is it the fact that it starts in April and then, the U.S. Open follows shortly after in June? Just what makes it the pinnacle of golf?
Well, I mean, Bobby Jones is the originator of the golf course and kind of built that place up. So, he was at that time, he was obviously the most famous person in the game, and he still has a very big influence on this game. And, just the tradition of the place that it keeps. You have places now like the Waste Management Phoenix Open where you have a stadium that goes nuts, and it's a big party, and kind of changes the game a little bit in that sense, which I think is great for the game. But at the Masters, you can't run. Like, you can't, if Tiger Woods makes a birdie on 16 to tie the lead, you can't try to run up to 17 green to try to go watch him make a birdie on the next hole to take the lead, because you'll get kicked out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a rule there. There's so many traditional rules that really take on the etiquette of golf that you see at the Masters, and like even down to the price of things there.
Even the things they eat, that pimento and cheese sandwich,
cheese
that thing must be disgusting. I'm friends with Steve Stantz. He goes, I go, do you ever have that pimento and cheese? He goes, no, it's gross.
But it's $1.50.
Yeah.
That's right. Like a beer there, I think is like $3.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much the ticket is. That's a separate topic.
But it's that kind of thing that it just holds a tradition. It keeps it. It's not, I saw a video the other day of Jack Nicklaus. He said Magnolia Lane. He goes, same as it was 60 years ago. Didn't change. So I think that's the biggest part of Augusta, that they keep that tradition, keep that aura about it, that, you head to the place, it's the same. They make small changes maybe to the golf course throughout the years to maybe modernize it a little bit, but otherwise, keeps the tradition.
In the last 2 years, it's been won by an American at the Masters. It's been Spieth and Watson who are the last two winners at the Masters. How important is that for American golf? Because there is a couple more Europeans obviously coming over, and there's a fair amount of competition, especially now that Tiger Woods isn't 100%. Just what does it mean, the fact that back-to-back years it's been Americans and obviously it wasn't Tiger?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the past, I would say 7 years of golf, ever since Tiger kind of maybe took a little bit of a backseat, the Europeans have ruled golf, absolutely ruled it. So I think Spieth has a chance to become a very, very dominant player. I don't think he has that thing to be a Tiger Woods. I really don't. I just don't see it. You look at Tiger down the stretch in a major championship back in 2000 to 2002 or something like that. He just had that thing. You look in his eyes and you're like, okay, let's back off a little bit. You know what I mean? And that's how he got that Tiger factor about him. He just, you look at him and you knew he was going to win that golf tournament. Jordan, lets his emotions get the best of him a little bit, and maybe doesn't have the length that Tiger used to and things like that. So I think he could be a very, very dominant player, but, I don't think he's going to take that Tiger Woods perspective of things, and that's something that American golf needs. I think they need someone to come out there and, hit the ball a mile, be able to putt it really well, and kind of have that thing. It's hard to explain what that is, but when you see it, you know what it is.
And with Tiger, he's not going to play this weekend, and he has that back injury. And we kind of been asking this for the last few years, is Tiger ever going to be able to return to a consistent form? And we just take a look at Tiger. I think a lot of people are still holding on to those great years and are afraid to admit it. But as years go on, I don't know if Tiger could ever dominate again. Do you think so?
No, not dominate. I think he can win
another major?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think it's definitely possible. I mean, it's Tiger Woods. Everybody kind of forgets that a little bit. I think the media kind of ruined Tiger Woods a little bit. He doesn't, he's not like he used to be. Some of the things that come out of his mouth are like Tiger. You're Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? You're talking, like, I mean, he says stuff that no one's familiar with, like the biomechanics of golf. My release pattern is this and that and this and that. You're Tiger Woods. Go out, chip for 2 hours, and find it. Find it in the dirt. That's the famous saying, and he doesn't know how to do that anymore. He's always relying on other people that, can't shine his shoes to help him with his golf swing, kind of thing. I think he needs to kind of realize who he is, go back to his roots, and kind of think of the things him and his dad used to do. And if I was him, I'd go back to Butch Harmon begging. But that's not going to happen with his ego. But he just needs to find that little spark that he can definitely find. And I think he can win another major. I think it's a very slim chance that he's going to catch Jack, but I think he'll definitely win again, and I think he'll definitely be in contention, if not win another major.
You mentioned Jack. Jack was 46. One of the years he won the Masters. Lefty is 45. Can Lefty win the Masters this weekend? I know he's been very hot, but still he's at the age of 45.
Absolutely. I don't think there's a doubt that he can. I mean, that's one of his favorite golf courses on the planet. He likes to hit a fade there because it's a drawer's golf course for a righty, fader's golf course for a lefty. That's why Bubba Watson won twice. It just fits his eye. So Phil's going to like that shape. He knows how to play that golf course so well. And, I mean, he's the best wedge player on the planet. And to have a great short game around there is so important because of how...
Saw it with Spieth last year.
Yeah, how sectioned those greens are. I saw a great quote the other day. I was watching a little bit of the live from the Masters, and David Duval said, he goes, "This is the only place on the planet where you can put a pro on and they hit 18 greens, and they could possibly shoot 90.
Wow.
So the green regulation stat means nothing. You can actually miss a green and be in a ton better spot than you are if you're on the green.
Earlier in the week, we were breaking down the national championship game, and we said, every kid dreams of hitting that game-winning shot like Chris Jenkins hit for Villanova. Was your childhood a little different, where you were, trying to hit that birdie to make sure you envisioned yourself hitting that birdie at Augusta and then pumping your fist like Tiger? Was that your childhood?
Yeah, I mean, everyone does that with every sport. I used to do it with basketball, too, when I played. I used to do it with baseball, throwing the winning pitch in the bottom of the ninth kind of thing. And golf, I used to sit on the putting green, kind of play that game that probably everyone does, kind of being like, all right, here you go. Here, this is for the Masters. And, you play it in your mind, Jim Nantz commentating all this, So, yeah.
Hello, friends. Jim Nantz here. I love Jim.
The one kid on our team actually does an incredible job.
Really?
It's
No.
hilarious.
Who is that?
Trey Wren.
Okay.
Hilarious.
We got to get
We're
him on.
gonna have to hear it.
It is spot on.
Really.
It is spot on.
As we're spending a few more minutes with Brandon Matthews, who joins us in the studio. Master starts tomorrow. Let's get to Rory. He's going for the career Grand Slam. Rory's been a player that has never won at Augusta. Just what makes Augusta a little bit more challenging for him?
That's a tough question. I think that's more mental than anything because, Tiger went into everything knowing he could win. Rory kind of has a little bit different mentality for it. I think he has a great mentality going into this week. I think he's going to play really well. But if you're not extremely, extremely strong mentally going into any week playing a golf tournament, it's going to be tough to win. So I think that's the main thing. And also, Rory's a very streaky ball striker. That's why you kind of see him do really, really well for a few months, get to that number one position, and then you really won't see him for like 5 or 6 months, if you ever notice that. And then you'll see him for another 5 months that playing really well, and then kind of drifts off again for maybe a month or two. So it all depends on how he's playing this week, what his mental status is, and I think it's going to be a great Masters.
You grew up like me, loving Tiger Woods. There was nothing better than watching golf when I was a kid and just seeing Tiger be at that dominant stage of his life that he was at. And I remember that playoff, I think it was the U.S. Open against Rocco Mediate. I skipped school that next day for the playoff on that Monday.
Yep.
And there was just not, I think I also had an eye doctor appointment right at the end of that playoff. And I remember I was listening to it in the car. I never thought I'd listen to golf on the radio because you just don't think they would even broadcast it, but they do. We talked about Nance. Kevin Kugler's a guy that goes from the NCAA tournament doing it for radio, then to Augusta doing that as well. So since Tiger is no longer his dominant self and he's had the injury problems, who's that one golfer right now that Brandon Matthews loves?
That's a tough question. I think I love kind of what golf is getting back into, because you had the big three back in the day. You had Jack, Arnold, Gary, and then you also had Lee Trevino. You had Seve Ballesteros. You had those kind of guys, Greg Norman, and I think we're kind of getting back into that kind of generation. I like what it's becoming. I like how Jason Day, Rory, Ricky, Spieth, that kind of thing. So that's four of the most dominant players in the world right now. And I think the Masters is going to be in between those four to win. That's just what everyone thinks. That's what Vegas has. It's just what it is now. That's what it is nowadays. And I think that's something we're learning to accept. And hopefully Tiger gets back and can do something big, or hopefully another presence comes on tour that can be that Tiger Woods. But that's a once every 150 to 200 years kind of thing.
Ricky also wears those funky pants that I also dig.
Yeah,
I think that brings a good part to the game. So give me a few guys or give me your Masters pick. I'm sure there will be an obvious one somewhere in there. So give me like an obvious guy in your opinion that you think will win, and then maybe a guy that someone isn't talking about that you wouldn't be shocked if they're there on Sunday competing for the jacket.
Yeah, so I think Ricky Fowler's going to win.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think Ricky Fowler is going to win somewhere around from 10 to 14 under. I think he's in a very good spot in his life right now. He seems very content, very happy. I follow him on Snapchat. He's always happy on there. You know what I mean? He's always posting pictures with his friends. He's having a good time.
You snap him a lot. You send him a picture ever. Good luck, Ricky.
Yeah, seriously. I don't think he'll open that. But he just looks like he's happy. Goes through his days. Enjoying life a little more than I think he did in the past. So I think he's in a good spot to win this week. As for kind of the other end of things, I was listening to a little bit of, like I said, the live from the Masters and watching. Billy Horschel, I think is playing some really good golf right now. I think he's definitely a dark horse that can really sneak up in there. KJ Choi's playing again. I don't know if you remember from, I think it was 2010 to 13. KJ was consistently in the top 7. So that may be a dark horse because he's playing great golf right now. And you know what? I can't wait to see what Bryson DeChambeau does on a big stage like this. He contended over in, I think it was Australia, where he was tied for second or something like that. He played really well over there. So, being the U.S. Amateur champ and NCAA champ, I'd like to see how well he does.
Before we let you run, and last time I told you how I didn't like Hank Haney and he blocked me on Twitter. Yeah. So I have another person that, and I know we only basically, we bring you in every year to talk about the Masters, so this is a little dated, but another guy I just can't stand is the caddy, Steve Williams. He really annoys me, and what he said in his book about Tiger I thought was just disgusting. How does a caddy get an ego that big?
Well, look who he caddied for.
Exactly, but still. Even though he caddied for Tiger, he should be bowing down to Tiger and thanking him for making that much money for Steve Williams in the day. On the other end, he thinks he's like this big celebrity. You're a caddy. You're important, but you're not like a celebrity here.
Yeah. I mean, that happens all over life with different situations. It happens, I'm sure, in business a ton and, just every aspect. So, that's just something that's just really unfortunate. It's one of those morals that you grow up, your parents being like, be a good person, that kind of thing, and don't do this, don't do that. That's one of those unwritten rules that you're like, Stevie, come on, you can't do that. You can't talk about the things that he talked about. Same with Hank Haney. You can't talk about that.
He broke that. Hank Haney, but annoys me is he broke that
code.
Teacher-student relationship, and you don't break that relationship. And he even admitted it to me. He goes, "Oh, well, I only broke that for 2%. You still broke it. That is a confidential time between those two guys."
Yeah, you can't talk about that. And same thing with caddy-player relationship. Caddy-player relationship is, it's almost sacred. I mean, that's basically your best friend every week. Kind of thing. You're with him for, if you're playing 30 weeks a year, you're with that guy for 4 or 5 out of those 7 days of the week, for 30 weeks a year. That's a lot. That's a lot that you're with that person for, and you're with them for 7 to 10 hours a day. So, it's a bond that's very special, and you just really need to embrace it and can't break that rule.
Well, we always love you coming in, Brandon, and enjoy this weekend. Hopefully you get a win, and then you get to catch the last few holes of the Masters, so we appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me. Always love coming in.
There's Brandon Matthews, and that's all the time.